Hey everyone, welcome to Make Your Peace, a 4YE podcast about Wynonna Earp. I'm Catherine Meushaw.
And I'm Lara Hayes.
And today we're discussing Season 1, Episode 9, Bury Me With My Guns On. And we'll be having a spoiler-free discussion and then a spoiler-filled one. So if you're new to Wynonna Earp and don't want to be spoiled, don't worry, we'll have a warning before the spoiler section. And if you don't care about spoilers or you have seen Wynonna Earp a bajillion and 3 times, like I know some of you have, then you don't have to worry about it because we'll have that spoiler-free section, or we'll have that spoiler section afterwards. And also just a quick announcement and kind of a cool thing. So the Earp Fiction Addiction podcast did a really cool thing for us. So we wanted to shout out to the folks over there. They do this nifty reverse sponsor thing every week. And we were lucky enough to benefit from that. And basically they made us a cool little commercial. So since we don't have any sort of transition music or anything solid between our spoiler-free and our spoiler section, we're actually going to pop that commercial in so that you guys can hear about it or hear it because it's really cool and we really appreciate them doing that. And if you're interested in checking out their podcast, you can check out their Twitter account at EFA_podcast. And their website is efapodcast.com. So shout out to them and thank you very much for doing that.
Shout out, and guys, make sure you give them a follow on Twitter. They are such nice folks.
Mm-hmm. Earpers supporting Earpers. And with that, Lara, do you have a quick recap for the episode?
Because, I do.
Again, I don't have one.
All good, my friend. So Constance storms Bobo's shed to retrieve her family's bones. A newly recovered Wynonna faces a tough challenge from a black badge analyst.
Okay, I feel like they're missing something really critical in that recap.
I think so too.
I mean, I'm not sure though. I mean, I guess before we talk about the super important thing that happened, that's like the most important thing that happened, I guess we should probably talk about the title if you've got anything.
I do. The episode title this week comes from the Boba Flex song of the same name, and it's fitting considering BBD tries to bench Wynonna this episode, and it's the same episode in which the Stone Witch literally gets buried, so.
Just a little bit. Maybe she'll get ahead. Alrighty.
Heyo.
I'm here all week with terrible puns. Alrighty, so like I said, something big did happen in this episode. You know, just a little big. You know, we found out Dulce's first name. and you know, we finally got the way hot scene that we were waiting for.
Finally.
It's been so long. No, I love all the way hot scenes in this episode. They make me really happy.
Me too. And I feel like you're right. I think we just need to let's just tackle it at the top of the episode. Girl, go for it.
Yes.
Tell me what these moments meant to you.
I have to admit that I watched the couch scene with when I had my screener, I watched it a ridiculous amount of times. Just that one scene before the episode aired. I was still flailing about it when the episode aired.
Oh yeah.
I absolutely adore the misunderstanding outside when they're both when Nicole's talking about what's going on in Purgatory and Waverly thinks it's about her newly discovered queerness. And it's so great. I love scenes like that so much. Give me a ridiculous, we're talking about 2 different things and it's hilarious scene any day. Just give me all of those scenes. I love them so much. And it gave us that marvelous, you're a lesbian, not a unicorn.
Yeah, one of my favorite lines, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then Waverly trying to walk home later. Or wherever she was going. She wasn't even, going home because she was going to, outside of town. Or, out to the town line. She said, the town line, I think. But, yeah, I like how she's just, determined to walk home. How did she get to the station? Did she walk all the way there?
It's possible.
So, she likes to walk all the way, all over the place, and, the snow and cold and everything.
Might help clear her head.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't deal that well with cold, so.
Yeah, me neither. But I'm with you, and I love the hilarious conversation that almost wasn't. I don't know what we can say about this scene that hasn't been said a million times. It's such a pivotal moment for Waverly in particular. But I love it when a show can effectively pull off the whole, like, wait, what are you talking about gag?
Yeah.
And this was expert writing paired with expert comedic timing. Dom and Kat did a phenomenal job with these lines, both of them completely convinced that they're on the same page. And the emotion they set up for Nicole ahead of time just works so perfectly in this scene. You know, she's just been shot down, so she's flustered, she's rattled, she's out of her depth. And Waverly is in exactly the same place for completely different reasons that all queer ladies can fully understand. So there's humor, but there's also vulnerability. And I think that's what makes this scene stand out, what makes it so successful.
Oh, yes, definitely. Yeah, it's just, it's a lot going on, especially. Yeah, I mean, not only, Nicole just basically got told she was a little crazy, kind of. I mean, because Nedley just totally was like, I don't know what you think you're seeing, but but yeah, no, it's you're totally right. It's so good and well done. Just the acting, the writing, and it sets a nice tone for them and everything for the episode.
Yeah,
you know, up until the scene in Sheriff's Station.
And before we go to that, I love the moment in Nicole's cruiser.
Yeah,
and the thing that I love most about it is that, you know, all the courage Waverly had to shore up to talk to Nicole when she was coming out of the police station is gone.
Oh, yeah.
It's gone because the conversation didn't go the way she planned, and that scared her, or maybe it, like, woke her up a little bit, and everything is changing. Wynonna's back, Shorty's dead, Shorty's bar is being sold, the 7 are gone, and Waverly is having feelings she doesn't understand for Nicole. And it's all too much, and it's all too fast, and she's afraid of what it all means. And it's honest, it's relatable, and it's one of my favorite Waverly moments, and she is my uncontested favorite character on this show.
Yeah, I mean, and come on, she doesn't handle change well. I relate to that.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, it's a very real scene, and, you know, it's well done, and you're right. It's just, she has all of the feelings, and it's like, it's having a lot of, like, I don't know where I fit in some situations and stuff like that. I don't know.
Right.
What's expected of me now and stuff like that, some of that. And yeah, I mean, the misunderstanding conversations are fun, but they're also, I mean, the characters get embarrassed. So it's like Waverly's just like completely, like, I don't know what to do with this now. And
yeah. And you hit on something that I didn't even think about until you said it, that she doesn't know what's expected of her. And that's something that we keep coming back to with Waverly's character, you know, is that, like, she tries to be whatever the person in front of her wants her to be. And this is maybe the first time that we see her really afraid of that expectation from Nicole, right? Because she's, we're not dating, you know, and like all of that stuff. Like, it's the first time that we really see her sort of freak out about what somebody else might expect. Yeah.
And I like how, in that scene, I like how they wrote Nicole with it.
Oh, yeah.
Like, because it's once again kind of that non-predatory aspect to her. And not trying to, you know, just making sure she's there for Waverly, and that Waverly understands that she'll be there in whatever capacity, you know, she needs her to be, and she'll support her with whatever. So, yeah, no, that scene's, it's a good one.
It is.
And even, like, Nicole does let her feelings show a little bit with, like, when Waverly says something about them being friends. And Nicole's like, sure, Waverly. She gets a little frustrated, so.
Yeah.
She's not it, but no, yeah, I love them.
Me too.
And then there was, you know, Waverly having that discussion with Gus, and this is the episode where it's like, okay, I like Gus. Like, I really like Gus. Because she was chill in episode 2 and everything like that. But, yeah, Gus telling Waverly, giving her that money and telling her, it's freedom, to do whatever you want and stuff like that. And, like, who you want and stuff like that. And I like that it was kind of like she knows what's up.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's not a snowball's chance in hell that Waverly has told anybody about what's going on with her and Nicole, but Gus is not as oblivious as Wynonna is.
Well, Gus also doesn't have, she also just doesn't have as much going on, and Waverly and Wynonna have spent a fair amount of time apart. Before she left Purgatory, she was committed. So I mean, and Waverly was very young. So and Gus has kind of watched her grow up. She's absolutely a very maternal figure in Waverly's life. And I have exactly the same note, so I won't beat a dead horse. But I absolutely adore this conversation with Gus and her support of Waverly.
Yeah. And I mean, like, we also don't know how many times, Nicole stopped by Shorty's. So.
Yeah, true.
They're not the most subtle sometimes. Well, okay, Nicole is not the most subtle. So, yeah, I mean, it's all of the scenes surrounding that. It's a very nice build up for the episode into, Nedley conveniently being out of the office because he goes to the bar like 4:00 every day. And, Waverly just pulling Nicole in the office. And I love all of that scene. Like, that entire scene is just so great. Like, Waverly just charging in and starting to, like, close blinds and stuff like that. And Nicole, like, walks. It was just like, what the heck? What is happening? I love it so much.
This is maybe going to sound like, I don't know. Maybe it's going to sound weird. But my favorite moment in that entire, like, kiss sequence, my favorite moment is when Waverly stops kissing Nicole and she's like, do you know what I've always wanted? My favorite moment is Nicole's bewildered, yes. What?
Yes.
That is, I know it's a lovely kiss, and I know it's this big moment for us. Every time I watch for that puzzled little what, because it just, I think we've all been there, like so caught up in the moment, and then something like ridiculous or out of the blue like happens, and we're like, oh, what? And we're trying to like gather our faculties and like be present for the other person. And that's my favorite moment of the kiss scene.
I love that moment too, because Kat's delivery of that what is just so perfect. I love it so much. So yes, it is one of my favorite things about that scene as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, Kat does a great job in that scene with her tone and everything. But yeah, I absolutely love the what as well. It's so great. It's like, what is about to come out of your mouth? Like, what is happening? And I mean, I mean, it's a little bit of like, she sounds a little scared there too. It's
yes.
Like, oh God.
Yes.
It's so great. I love that. The thing I don't love is the very jarring cut from them making out to Clutie's head.
Yeah. I mean, they had to get back to, essential plot. Like,
no, I know.
And I don't know what that transition, would have, I don't know how they would have softened that, but.
I don't know. It's just the first time watching it, it was like you're all wrapped up in the way hot, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh my God. So, yeah, it's a very jarring transition. But no, I love the sheriff station scene.
Oh my God. I didn't even, did we get a body part before the credits? I didn't even check. Oh my God, I didn't even look.
No, we didn't get a body part before the credits because, Lara, how could you not remember how this episode started?
I'm blanking so hard right now.
You're going to feel really bad when I remind you of how this episode started.
No. I'm there. I've got it. I love Wynonna's freewheeling bar dance scene, But it is hard for me to view it in the same way for reasons I will discuss in the spoiler section.
I was about to ask, I'm like, girl, where are you going with that?
No, I'm not going anywhere with that. It's a great dance sequence, and I have more to say about it later.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I mean, what a way to start an episode.
Word.
I just give me, anytime we can start an episode where somebody's dancing. Actually, no, I'll keep it. Anytime we can start an episode, I was just thinking of the ways that could go wrong in the future.
Oh, sure, yeah.
It hasn't hurt us yet, though.
Not yet.
Yes, my first note, literally the first note I took was Wynonna dancing. Thank you.
Thank you.
When I was taking notes.
Thanks.
It's just so great. Yeah, but no, we don't have any body parts this episode. Sorry. I know how much
That's
it means
okay.
to you.
I literally didn't even, I think I was too caught up in the dancing because I didn't even like create a section for it in my note or like anything. I was just like, Wynonna's dancing. I have thoughts about this. I'm going to save it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I mean, you got the important stuff. You remember the important stuff.
Yeah, exactly. And I love the guy that is like trying to pick her up poorly.
Oh, yeah.
And then, Doc kind of chases him off. I love that the next time we see that guy, he is really trying to pick up Waverly at Shorty's. It's the exact same dude. And I love the way Wynonna blatantly ignores him and then pointedly chases him off.
Well, the thing about him, too, it's also the same guy who, in the episode, she had to, she was trying to go and apologize to people she hurt.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's Pete, the guy whose brother she went home with.
Yes.
So it's just like, poor Pete, it's like, the digging pool in purgatory can't be that big, and he seems like a nice enough guy. Like, it's not like he's really nice when he's talking to Waverly. Like, it's not like he could have, if you've set him next to Champ, he seems like a decent dude.
Comparatively, yeah, sure.
Yeah. I mean, but poor Pete. He's just striking out all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
He should probably stop trying to go for Earp sisters, though.
Probably.
I feel like that's not going to be a good look for him ever.
And Wynonna she's spiraling pretty hard at the start of this episode. Like, she reminds me a little of Faith. Like, Faith was always pretending to have more fun than she was actually having and trying to, project a level of control that she did not have over her life. And Wynonna kind of started the episode in similar footing, or on a similar footing, I suppose. When she says, I thought I'd look different. I thought I'd feel different. That's the problem with revenge, but that's also the problem with getting what you want sometimes. Like, when you're super focused on achieving or changing something external, and then you change it or you achieve it, but you still feel the same, the real problem is inside you. Like, it's no accident that the very next scene, Wynonna is getting a psyche eval from BBD.
Yeah, definitely. Yes, thanks for bringing up Faith from Buffy. I need a minute now. Because I got you. And the thing that popped into my head the second you mentioned her was that scene from Bad Girls with her and Buffy, with her dancing.
Exactly.
Yeah, thanks for that.
Welcome.
But no, I mean, we talked about, for last episode, how important of a episode it was psychologically for Wynonna. And I mean, this kind of continues that, because she's got a lot of, she's suffering from, PTSD. Some kind of, she's reacting to that trauma, and, she's jumpy, she's acting a little irrationally, she's very quick to pull out her gun, she's very quick to threaten people and stuff like that. And, yeah, I mean, it's one of those, when something like that happens, something major like that, a major change, it's you almost expect it to, it's like when you have a birthday, you're people joking, oh, do you feel any different? It's no, because it's just another day.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Because it's kind of it's not there's no confetti, there's no, fireworks or anything for a big change.
Yeah, there's no, physical awakening. Right? You're not
right.
I've never had a birthday and been wow, now I'm an adult. Like like we build these mile markers up in our heads, and then we reach them, and we're the same person we were minutes before, days before, and that's what Wynonna's going through. Yeah.
And I mean, like, she will get there. Like, obviously something's changed because of how she's reacting. And I mean, it'll make a difference in the future, but, like, you can't expect an immediate result.
Right. It's a slow process.
Yeah, and Wynonna's handling all this the best way she knows how, and is drinking a lot, which is really not the best way to handle a recent trauma.
Right.
So she's not even trying to avoid it, or she's not even trying to deal with it.
Yeah, it's escapism.
Mm-hmm. But I mean, we do get quite a number of good Wynonna entrances, because there is her walking into the station with her coffee. And it's like a really good look with the coffee. Yeah, it's a really good look. But yeah, I mean, the psych assessment, you're right. It's, no coincidence that that was set up. It's just weird. It looked like more like a wonky polygraph than a psych assessment.
Yeah, it did look like just a polygraph. You're right.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they went majorly off book.
Well, yeah, Dolls gave us that Dolls made that clear with his reaction and everything. We got to find out a little bit more about the Bleecker case that's come up a little bit. Not much.
I had a note about that just because I was excited for you that it came up again. It's like your body part. It's the Bleecker case.
I just want to know all of the things.
Yeah, something about a bomb, right?
Yeah, it killed 2 people, and it was linked to a woman who ran with the Banditos, like Wynonna. Mm-hmm. Because I'm sure Wynonna was the only woman who ever ran with the Banditos. The only one.
Ever.
Yep. And Wynonna's reaction to Dolls kind of letting her hang a little bit.
Yeah.
Is also, like, she gets really upset with him for, like, not having her back, and, she tries to get him to say that he cares about her and stuff like that, and he doesn't, and just ends up taking her badge. So, because she failed the assessment.
Right.
It's a little rough. Wynonna's not having the day I think she was expecting. Wynonna's definitely not having the day she was expecting to have, and the celebration she was expecting to have.
You know what I like speaking of, like, things kind of coming back around, they circled back around to, like, the hunter inside of her that Two-Faced Jack referenced in the last episode. Mm-hmm. And, she's admitting to Doc that she wanted to kill the guy in the bathroom. Yeah. Not necessarily because she's so gung-ho about the Revenant. Like, the thing that she confided to Doc was that she felt like she needed to kill something. And I thought that was a brave thing to do with your heroine, right? Like, have her admit that she was kind of spiraling and feeling out of control with her life, and she just wanted to kill something. Like, that's not something that we often hear our heroines admit. And we become a little more familiar with the forces at work inside Wynonna and the cost, like the very real cost of this curse. Yeah. And what it might change in her.
Yeah, I mean, and you're right about it being it's another example, Wynonna's not our traditional hero. She's, especially in a Western type setting, she's not a traditional white hat.
No.
But she's certainly not a black hat either. So yeah, I mean, that's definitely an important moment. And, obviously it's Doc that she's going to talk to about that. It's not going to be Waverly, because Waverly wouldn't understand. Dolls.
No.
And of course it's Doc, and he, him saying, there's a power in taking a life, unequal to anything else in the world. It's just, it's an interesting moment we get between the two of them. And I like that we get that moment, because it is like taking a glance into, like, Wynonna and like you said, getting an idea of the cost of this curse and what she's losing. Because we get it in episode 5, where, Doc kind of gives her crap for kind of empathizing with Levi and Fish.
Yep.
And she's like, I can't do this job if it's basically like she doesn't want to lose that humanity that she has and everything. And she has to kind of keep herself grounded and everything.
Mm-hmm.
he's good. It's a good scene. They did a really good job with this.
Yeah, they did.
With kind of taking us through Wynona's struggle and everything. And then we get to, speaking of revenge and stuff like that, we get to get, Doc gets a little bit of his.
Yeah, he does.
And it's kind of, Doc is not great at making plans.
No, yeah.
He's willing to do anything. He would make a deal with Bobo and stuff like that to do anything to make sure he gets his revenge. And just, not listening to Wynonna, who's like, hey, we need a plan. Need a plan. They think I've got a plan. He's like already gone.
Yeah.
But yeah, Doc finally found a solution to get his revenge on Constance, which, he was trapped in that well for 130 years. I guess she can stand to be trapped in the salt fields for a little bit.
Mm-hmm. And Constance's resurrection spell on her son assumedly did not go as planned. We're left to believe that Drex's face, wasn't supposed to go full Hunchback of Notre Dame, but she makes like a neat comment about her magic being spent, and that she'll fix his face like once we cross the boundary, which I guess it kind of left me wondering, like, are her powers at all reduced or diminished inside the triangle? Like, I'm not sure this is how the line was like meant to be read. Like, it could have meant that she would just have time to recharge her abilities and cast a spell to fix his face, like, once they were outside of the triangle and, like, they couldn't be hunted anymore, like Bobo couldn't get to them.
Yeah.
I just wondered if there was any sort of... I wonder if she could be, like, more powerful outside of it, if there's anything that sort of reins her in, or if it's really just geography we're talking about.
I really just took it as a once we get to safety. Like, once we get past the triangle, once we get to safety. Because, that was a lot that took out of, that she brought somebody back from the bed. So, his face jacked up. But no, I took it more as to safety and not a comment on her powers being dampened in the triangle.
Right.
Especially since we haven't seen a similar stuff with, like, Maddie or anything. Like, Maddie seemed to be okay, and, she was in the triangle, but yeah, she seems to be powerful enough in the triangle, so I think it was just a matter of just, being a little spent.
This show does a really good job, too, of, like, reminding you that a person's motives are their own. Mm-hmm. Like, regardless of what allegiance you believe they have. And we saw it with that whole Scorpion and the Frog thing with Waverly, and we see it several times in this episode. Like, when Bobo torches the bones of Drek's brother and subsequently kills him, like, despite his supposed truce with Clutie. And we see it later with Doc and Bobo, when Doc pulls his gun on Wynonna when she tries to shoot Bobo. They really worked in these little reminders that they've thrown us before, that, like, every person has their own agenda. Yeah,
they really drove that home, I think, in this episode too, because it's like,
yeah, they did.
Yeah, even with to a level like Gus taking the offer to buy the bar, was kind of her own thing, so she can get out of there and stuff like that and not have that burden. Obviously.
Yeah, that's a good point. I didn't.
Doc and Constance, and then it's interesting how we keep getting teased about the lead thing too.
Yes.
It's like, Bobo demands the lead, and Constance tells him she doesn't have it, but it's somewhere in the triangle. And then, Constance later tells Wynonna and Doc that, he's looking for the lead to get out of purgatory, but doesn't explain what the lead is. And it's like,
right.
It's leaves us with a lot of questions as to what's going on. And we did get a little more pieces about the Earp curse, too, from Constance.
Yeah, not much. Yeah. Not as much as she professed to have, right?
No, it was just, confirming that it was her demon husband as revenge for the death of their kids.
Yep.
And then that she wanted her own revenge on Wyatt, so she went after Doc, who Wyatt loved most. Mm-hmm. And I'm definitely not going to look too far into that.
No.
Of course not.
No.
I never have queer goggles on when I watch TV. And she gets another dig telling, he'll always come second to the lawman.
Right.
So, Constance hasn't been around that much, and she's like implying, she's telling Doc, like, hey, there might be something going on with Wynonna and Dolls.
Mm-hmm.
So, she's just getting all up in everybody's business.
Truth. This episode really establishes Bobo as a major player, too.
Oh, yeah.
Like, they've dangled him all season. But his takedown of Constance, his standoff with Doc and Wynonna, and his purchase of Shorty's, which is total, like, psychological warfare, right? Like, just meant to rattle her and get her kind of off her footing. All of it really solidifies his power in Purgatory and sort of his fighting style, almost.
Yeah. Yeah, he's not as, like... He's a little bit more forward thinking and a little bit more of a planner than some other people are. So,
yeah, and they've sort of hidden that side of him. Like, they gave you the BBD docs, that Dolls had submitted, or whatever. Like, so we got that, but. And, we knew he had this long-term plan with Clutie, but a lot of what we've seen from him is a lot of, like yelling in people's faces and drilling holes in people's faces and stuff like that. And now we're kind of starting to see how he became this really important figure to the other Revenants. Why is he their leader? That kind of thing.
Yeah. And it's because, that question, when we asked that question last week with why is he in charge and not like some of the, like one of the seven and stuff like that. So yeah, it's a good episode for everybody, really. It's a good Bobo episode. It's good. Kind of a good Constance episode. Actually, no, the first scene we get with Constance where she's like taking out all the refs with the automatic rifle is pretty great.
That was good. Yeah.
She's not playing around. She's not going to use her magic, probably because she had to like store it up for Drek. But yeah, she's just like, I'm going to take you guys out and just take you up for a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So I like that. And then I don't understand why Bobo flamethrowing the bones caused Drek to burn, but magic and all that stuff. So I'll allow it.
I'll allow it. Nedley shows another side of himself.
Yep.
In this episode. Like, when we first see Nedley, he's discouraging Nicole's interest in the truth and all but shreds her report of Two-Faced Jack. He's kind of just like gaslighting her and stonewalling. But we see that he absolutely understands the darker side of Purgatory in his conversation with Dolls. And not only does he know the depths of this town's weirdness, he knows the key players, and he has a stack of information on Bobo Del Rey.
And it's kind of, in a way, it's kind of him. It's him trying to protect Nicole from, getting into a position where she can come to harm because of what she knows too.
Oh, absolutely.
But no, we definitely get a really nice side of Nedley, and I like, him handing Dolls a case file, and I like him just taking him to Shorty's to socialize with the locals. Like, it's about time you. So yeah, it's a good Nedley episode because it shows he's not just your kind of bumbling small town sheriff. I don't love the gaslighting of Nicole. I get why, I get kind of why he took her down like that, but I don't love that part of it.
I don't agree with it, but I think he's especially worried. I think he really likes her.
Yeah.
And I think he really values having her on his staff, but I think that it's sort of carryover from the last episode when she was abducted and then hospitalized, and she almost died in the line of duty. And I think you're right. I think it comes from a place of wanting to protect her, whether we like his execution of that or not. I think that was his motive. Yeah,
definitely. And I just enjoy how he just kind of like brings Dolls in and is like, so have a random weather vane fact, and then let me tell you that I know that there's something weird going on.
That weather vane thing with it always pointing west.
Mm-hmm.
I really hope that comes up again.
Yeah.
I really hope there was something to that little throwaway line, because for a throwaway line, it went on for a while.
Yeah.
You know, I think that'd be really cool.
Yeah. It's something wonky in the town. So yeah, I would like for that to come up too. We kind of glossed over Wynonna threatening the real estate dude. I mean, it's still kind of on her little bender thing. But I do along with that conversation, just going back to that conversation she had with Doc, at least she's not ignoring that part of it. Like, she's aware and kind of acknowledging that she's kind of scared at what she can become and scared about how she's reacting. So at least she's not completely avoiding everything and still trying to manage it a little bit.
Yeah, she's not in total denial. Right.
Yeah, that's a better way to put it. But there were a few things that I kind of liked about how they dealt with Constance, like how she just throws salt on her once they've got her in the barn.
Yeah.
Just unceremoniously tosses. And then when they get out to the salt fields, instead of telling Doc where they are, she's like, taste it. And it's like, yep, I'm just gonna lick the ground. Is that what, it's so funny that she's, instead of oh yeah, we're in salt fields, it's like, oh, taste it. The dramatic effect for Constance.
I was going to say, I appreciate the theatrics.
I do too. I mean, you gotta appreciate a dramatic character. And I like how they worked around the curse, Doc digs the hole, but Wynonna buries her. That had to have taken a while. I can't imagine digging in the salt fields like that is particularly easy. And that's a pretty big hole that they had to dig for her.
Yeah, deep too.
Yeah. So, that must have taken a while. Looks like neither of them broke a sweat, though. Go on. Sounded like you were going to say something.
Oh, no, I was going to make a really bad joke about maybe, being in the salt flats, the sweat just kind of evaporated on their skin faster. And then I was like, well, that's not worth saying. So thanks for making me say it anyway.
It is a bad joke, but who doesn't appreciate a bad joke?
I was just genuinely wondering about the effects of that much salt on body sweat.
It's probably not great.
So I got really quiet.
Lara gets quiet to contemplate salt, and I call her out to make her speak.
Welcome to my mind, everybody. Hey. Jesus. It's weird up here.
The best minds are. Oh, I only had one more thing I kind of had a question about. So, Bobo tells Doc he saw Constance's pain speak to him, but how? Because he's been with Constance the whole time. So, how did he know that Constance being in pain spoke to Doc? He would have to be with Doc.
I didn't think of it that way. I thought of it more as just, again, Bobo having a lot more information on people than we think. So I took it as he knew that one way to lure Doc out, or that he could kind of kill two birds with one stone. That Constance's pain would draw Doc out, and then he could deal with both of them. That was how I took it.
Okay. I'll allow it now. Yeah, that's reasonable. It was kind of, I get nitpicky on the Brilliance watch. So.
And the wording was weird. What you pointed at. Yeah. So I see, I feel what you're throwing down.
Excellent. And with that, do we want to talk about quotes?
Let's.
All right, what you got?
I do like Doc's "she ain't nobody but her own" in the beginning.
Yeah, that's pretty good. I like it when he tells her, from my experience, I've got something, you release the rate, she might find there's nothing left. And she's like, worst fortune cookie advice ever.
Yeah. My absolute favorite quote this episode is when Wynonna walks up on Bobo and she says the unarmed revenant in a coat Lady Gaga deemed maybe too much.
I knew that'd be your line. Yeah, that one's a good one. I had that on my list too. Because I'm an insane person. I typed up the entire interaction in the sheriff station with Nicole and Waverly. I typed that out just for funsies.
Oh, wow.
And I also typed out the misunderstanding. I'm not going to read them,
Jesus.
but I had them just in case I wanted to reference them, mostly. I did preface that with, I'm an insane person.
Yeah.
No, because there were good pieces of that, like, and, after Nicole walks away from the misunderstanding and Waverly's just like, I think I'd do better with a unicorn. I love that. It makes me happy.
I like the I've got a taser, don't make me use it, too.
Oh, yeah. That's another delivery thing. It's just like, I enjoy how it was delivered. And just her telling Waverly that she would never ask her to be someone she's not.
Oh, yeah.
I appreciate that. And Doc about dolls. He is a hypocrite at best and a malicious manufacturer of falsehoods at worst.
Mm-hmm.
That's just another, really well executed line.
Yeah.
Anytime Doc's insulting people, it's generally a good time.
I like it when Wynonna walks in with, coffee and everything, and she's like, this is the first time I've woken up and known exactly what to do. And Dolls is like, wear tighter pants.
Yeah, that one's a good one. And when Nicole and Nedley are talking about purgatory, and she's like, you gotta admit this place is weird. It's a small town. It's quirky. It's called purgatory, for Christ's sake. And it's like,
yeah,
I think it goes beyond small town quirks. Just throwing that out there as somebody who has lived in small towns.
Yeah.
From a small town, there's quirky and then there's purgatory.
Yeah.
But
yeah, my current town literally has a main street where everything is. It's that small. And I gotta tell you guys, we have very few demons here.
That you know of.
That I know of. But if I didn't know about them, who would know about them, Catherine? Nobody else in this town is looking as hard as I am for the occult.
Touché. You just need to find a new small town then. Let's see. We talked about the interaction between Gus and Waverly. Gus telling her to live her life. And when Constance is trying to, when she sees her knife and starts the incantation, and Wynonna's like, I don't speak evil, and she's just like, I wasn't talking to you.
Yeah.
I like that one.
Yeah, I like that Constance stopped to clarify.
Yeah. And it's just she seems so annoyed too. I just like the annoyed, I wasn't talking to you.
Yeah.
And then Waverly's adorable, when she sees Nicole, kind of busted out of the sheriff's station. She's just like, whoa, where's the holdup?
Yeah.
Because you're a cop. It makes me laugh every time. Waverly's too adorable. I love her. I also typed up the conversation that Nedley and Dolls had. I do like Nedley saying, whatever's going on in this county, and you're like, got our only deputies killed, and I don't know about you, but if I lose mine, I gotta go and deputize some fool chant party.
Yeah, yikes.
But that was it on my list.
Yeah, that's it for mine too.
Alrighty. So with that, I guess we're gonna wrap up our spoiler-free discussion. So thank you guys for listening, and we'll go ahead and tell you where to find us, and then please stick around after you hear our little commercial, courtesy of, Earp Fiction Addiction, and if you don't want to be spoiled. So, alrighty, Lara, so where can they find you online?
You guys can find me on Twitter at RS Mayfair.
Alright, and you can find me at C Meushaw, that's at CMEUSHAW. I'm waiting for the day I actually spell my name incorrectly because I'm, not thinking. It hasn't happened yet. And you can find 4YE, you can find the podcast at 4YE_MYP podcast, and you can find 4YE, the site that we write for, at 4_Y_E, and both of those are the number 4. And you can also find the podcast on YouTube if you rather listen to it that way. Otherwise, you can download it from the site. And with that, we will talk to you next time if you're leaving us for episode 10. Otherwise, stick around for our spoiler-filled discussion.
Thanks, guys.
Make Your Peace podcast is the Wynonna Earp fan podcast that digs deep into every episode, not only providing comprehensive recaps, but also delving into character relationships and motivations. Hosts Catherine and Laura take their time exploring all the nooks and crannies of each action-packed episode, puzzling over and speculating on moments you may have missed. If you enjoy a good discussion of your favorite sci-fi show, then this podcast is definitely for you. You can find Make Your Peace podcast on Twitter at 4YE_MYP podcast, where you will find links to their latest episodes. Make Your Peace podcast. Dig a little deeper.
Alrighty, so if you're sticking around with us, then that means you are sticking around for a spoiler-filled discussion. That means spoilers for the rest of season 1 and season 2, and any speculation for season 3 or season 3 announcements. So, if you're sticking around with us, it's not our fault that you get spoiled. Okay, so there is one announcement I wanted to make before we get into talking about episode stuff. Season 2 will be on Netflix on June 9th, and that might sound familiar to those of you who were watching season 2 when it aired, because that's actually when that premiered on Sci-Fi.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
Yeah. Because I'm a crazy person who knows that. But, yeah, so, now that we have a date, it's coming up on it, so make sure you bug your family and friends to get ready to watch it. Since the air date for season 3 is July 20th?
Yeah, I think that's right, yes.
Yes, July 20th. I just had to make sure it was Friday. So yeah, you can start getting ready to bother your family and friends and everybody you know to watch the show. And with that, we've got some items to talk about spoiler-wise. Where would you like to begin?
Well, I'll never view the Wynonna freedom dance scene the same way after the great Revenant infant scare we got last year.
Yeah, I mean, knowing what happened between, her, kind of leaving the bar and her coming in a really good mood the next morning.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's, she just took a visit to a strip club, no big. That's fine. Accidentally slept with a Revenant. It's fine.
Who hasn't been there?
Your Saturday nights are apparently a lot more interesting than mine.
Oh, yeah, right. I was thinking, honestly, I was thinking about all of the vampires Buffy's had sex with.
It's only been
sometimes
like
you gotta
2.
think. Yeah.
I mean, so it's not like she had sex with a bunch of them.
Yeah, there was that, there was an Angel thing, too, where she was, referenced as being in a relationship with some other vampire. I mean, it was Angel, so we don't have to even consider it.
Yeah, I don't.
He
was an immortal. He wasn't a vampire. He was just an immortal, I think.
Oh, really?
I think so.
All right.
I don't remember. I don't watch season 5 of Angel a lot because some of it really pisses me off.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's only been 2. I mean, Buffy's track record is still not stellar, but it's not.
I'm not kink shaming her.
I'm just saying, I didn't think you were.
Yeah, you do you, girl. What else?
No shaming of Buffy or Wynonna.
Yeah.
Wynonna didn't know that he was a Revenant. It's fine.
Yeah, she didn't. And she was really drunk.
Doesn't make it better.
No, I just meant,
yeah.
As far as, why she didn't realize it. She...
Also, she pulls Peacemaker out and checks it anyway. It's a lot of times the only way she's been able to tell.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't seem like a Revenant. He seems like, regular bartender. I don't know. Maybe I have no Rev radar. Revdar?
Revdar. There you go.
Not well. It does not work well. But yeah, so we get to see Wynonna on a little bit of a bender. So, and I guess Wynonna and Doc do. I was still unclear as to whether or not they actually had sex.
It's so tricky on not Showtime or HBO, right? Because everybody's always in their underwear. Yeah. You're like,
yeah,
I don't know. I don't know if that counts.
And they were interrupted. Yeah, I mean, they were interrupted. And I only mention it because I know, like, when they had their dirt hookup, I mentioned that that's probably what, where they conceived little Alice. But, because I honestly, I couldn't, I was really thought that they had been interrupted in this episode, and I forgot that it was unclear, mostly because I don't pay that much attention to it. I just wanted to acknowledge, because I know I did say it in our spoiler section for episode 5. So I did want to mention it just because I mentioned it then. But yeah, it's weird. So I don't know. Either way, it was a little bit of a more of a memorable night than Wynonna was expecting.
Word. Bobo stopping Constance's advance too, and like shorting her car is maybe like the clearest example in season 1 of his very specific power to like control metal. So that was cool.
Yeah, definitely. And we get Constance gets wrapped up in this episode. Kind of outside of the flashback.
Quick.
Yeah, outside of the flashback in season 2, it's like she gets kind of like we're done with her, which is a shame. I do like her. She's a fun villain.
She's animated. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. What else was I going to say? I think this is also the last time we see Gus.
Yeah.
She doesn't show up again. And
until that season 2.
She gets mentioned in season 2. We don't see her.
We see her in season 2.
When?
She comes back for Alice.
No.
What?
No, the dude comes back to bring her.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Yeah, you're totally right.
I know.
I don't know why. Why would I do that? Why would I go toe-to-toe with you on continuity? That makes no sense. For God, pick your battles, Lara.
Sometimes I'm wrong. We literally just discussed this. Sometimes I'm wrong.
But even if you're going to be wrong, I'm not going to be right. You know what I mean? Like, that was silly. Forgive me, everyone.
It could happen.
Jesus.
It could happen. You never know. And I'm just that dick who's like, yeah, I know I was right. Like, oh yeah, I'm that. Yeah, no, so we don't, it's the last time we see Gus, so we know in season 2 she went off somewhere, but we're not really, I don't actually remember if we're told where she goes. We just know she's very much out of purgatory. So, which is fine. I mean, she sold the bar, she's got her money.
Go for it.
Gonna go live her life a little bit.
I would too. I like her.
Mm-hmm. I would like to see her again, though.
Right. It took a while.
Yeah, now I do.
Bobo also says of Drek, like, I see he has his father's looks, which is something that I've mentioned before. I've commented about it a couple times. I just can't wait to find out what Sheriff Clutie looks like physically. How, like, demon-y and weird he is. I'm excited to meet him.
We got to see parts of him. Like, we got to see parts of Bullshot.
Yeah, we just haven't had, like, a face shot.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, Drek looked a little rough. Just a little rough.
Yeah. He was giving Quasimodo realness.
You know you watch too much Drag Race, man.
False. There's no such thing as too much Drag Race.
Sorry, my bad. Should I just leave this and start going Banshee? Miss Banshee.
Miss Banshee.
And this is where we lose all of our listeners.
No, we're gonna weed them out with this. I'm keeping Miss Banshee.
That's how I'm ending all of the podcasts now. I'm just
from now on.
Yeah.
A Miss Banshee fade out.
I am sorry to all of our listeners who do not watch RuPaul's Drag Race.
Ooh.
And for whom that reference just went way over your head.
Yeah, sorry.
No, it's fine. Now I'm blanking on any spoiler discussion we could have had. Sorry, I totally derailed myself.
I figured you would want to talk about the lead, but I don't know.
Thank you. I forgot to put that on my list.
I got you.
I deleted it from my notes without putting it on my list. Thank you.
You're welcome.
This is why you have awesome co-hosts.
Oh.
Yeah, so we got more conversation about the lead, but no hint that it was a person.
Right.
Which, kudos to the writing for dancing around that. Although it was a little, like, it gets a little frustrating because you're like, okay, please just tell me. I want to know. But you have to leave it up to that reveal that Willa is alive. So I can't fault them too much for it. I can fault them a little bit for it, but I can't fault them too much.
I like just calling her that too. The lead, like, yeah, like
Lead, yeah.
Barry the lead, you know, like, and it ends up costing her life, like, you know, trying to break. Yeah.
I mean, there are more rude things you can call her.
Well,
so.
yeah, sure, and I'm sure we'll have plenty of things to say about Willa, but I did think that was a nice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, it's genderless. It's not anthropomorphic or anything like that. Like, it's very vague, and it calls to mind, you know, like Barry the lead, which,
yeah,
you know, it is sort of a hint that, you know, ultimately she'll die. Anyway, it's wild speculation, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, but on the flip side, it does kind of very much dehumanize her and very much kind of make it clear that she has, like, kind of give the impression that she's really just around for one purpose. So there's a flip side to that as well. Like, she's kind of crap a little bit. But yeah, so there is that flip side where it calling her the lead dehumanizes her significantly. Her only purpose is to get Bobo out. I mean, we later find out that they kind of had their own Stockholm syndrome thing going on.
Exactly. Yeah. Not the most romantic. No.
No. So not at all. Yeah. Thank you though for reminding me about that because I cleared my notes too soon.
Oh, you're welcome. That was the last thing I had for my spoiler section. I was like, Catherine will take this one.
and I didn't. Yeah, I think that was everything I had. No, there was nothing last week that we said, oh, we'll cover it next week that we didn't cover, so.
No.
I think we're good. Alrighty, yeah. So that wraps us up for the spoiler-filled section, so thanks to everybody who stuck around, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks, guys.